Welcome back, everyone, to DBDLeague. We are here with the quarterfinals of the winter circuit, meaning that we are talking about only 8 remaining teams in the winner bracket. 4 more we have distinguished yesterday. They are waiting there in the lower bracket in order to take the challenge against these teams that are playing today, next weekend. But Eternal and Sinners, Elysium and is going against Ascent, Severance, Oracle, and Calamity Catalyst are the ones that are aiming to get into the semi-final. And for the first 2 matches of today, I have none other than the wonderful Rayoxium. Welcome in!
Hello. It's fantastic to be back. I'm excited for these quarterfinals. These picks and these teams are looking really good. Really good. I definitely coming back at a prime time. Dyer, do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, you very fairly consider this the prime time, because I absolutely agree. And Eternal against Sinners will be such an interesting game to kick it off here. We are going to see wild killers, I would say. Second set, the Billy. Third set, the Spirit. So we have basically the S tier killers, or tier 1, being around and kicking it off with the Houndmaster, tier 2 killer. Completely new into the pool. Not so much time to get used to the killer. Not so much time to practice with the killer, so going to be really interesting how much the teams already figured out on the mechanical side, on the counterplay side of the survivors there. But Houndmaster will set, I don't know, very interesting tone to this in general. On the one hand, Eternal, this team that has so much experience. On the other side, Houndmaster is not really the standard Eternal repertoire where they have years of experience. So potentially in set number 1 already lays the chance for Sinners to take over this entire thing.
Indeed. I do know that I believe Nightlight is playing the Houndmaster for Eternal, and I do know that Nightlight is known for picking up newer killers and just playing the absolute crap out of them and getting really good at them. And we've seen him do this thing where he picks these newer killers in these comp settings, and it does usually end up working out very well. So I am a little bit biased because I have seen him do this in the past, where he just plays these new characters and he just grinds them out. He's playing them a lot. So I'm really excited to see what the Houndmaster is capable of in a comp setting. It is going to be played on Cold Tower 2, a little bit bigger of a map than Cold Tower 1, but it's not one of the bigger Macmillan maps, so I'm not entirely sure how the chases are going to be. I don't really run into Houndmasters personally in just regular DBD games, so I really have no idea how it's going to be. Is it going to be obnoxious to play against? Is he going to be insanely good? Is it going to be one of those killers that looks good on paper, but really in a comp setting, they don't shine too well? I'm pretty excited to see, because I haven't seen Houndmaster played in comp at all. So that is going to be a real treat for me. And even better, we're having a classic S tier Hillbilly set played on the Fractured Cowshed, which I'm not entirely sure how that's going to go, because in recent years, Fractured Cowshed has had a lot of nerfs, and it's going to be a little bit different than what it would have been in previous years. So Hillbilly being on this map, he might just be an absolute menace. It could be like a 4K2, and I'm not kidding when I say my jaw will stay in place. It will not drop.
Yeah, the Billy, right after the Houndmaster especially, is going to make this best of 3 so much quicker, I would say. Houndmaster, I really hope we're going to get into the match, see a few dashes with the doggy here and there, sniff out some survivors, and then just taking them out. And then, as you mentioned, the Billy right afterwards. Sinners, very experienced as and against the Billy, so hopefully some snipes even. I believe we all remember the snipe that we have seen last weekend. There we have seen 10 seconds on the Fractured Cowshed, and that was enough to instantly take a survivor down and throw them onto the hook. So that was very exciting, and I feel like the Billy absolutely has the potential for that. The problem is for Sinners here that they have for a good reason, selected their Hillbilly. They have a good killers, they have good survivors on this. Though when we look on the side of Eternal, we do have mechanical players, Nightlight, Zaka. We have Dan, who plays a lot of Billy there as well. So it might be a very phenomenal pick for Sinners based on their confidence, but it might not be the best opponent to throw this Billy set onto. So we will see how good they are actually doing. We are getting the information from the background from our tournament analyst Toby that Houndmaster is actually doing a little bit slower than expected when we are talking about sending the dog and getting these survivors quickly into the first chase. 138 is the average at the moment for downing the first survivor. That actually equals the chance for 3 individual generators. So I feel like the early game really pressures these players when we are going in. And then Spirit as a tiebreaker, if that's not enough, on a very interesting map. Ray, I was about to ask you about it. How do you feel about Spirit on the Father Campbell's Chapel?
I have seen Spirit on Father Campbell's Chapel. It is not a complete surprise to me. I do think it's one of her worst maps because it's a lot more RNG factor, meaning that there's a lot more chance for really safe pallets to spawn everywhere. The chapel building itself has a potential to spawn a really good setup with a window that is really detrimental to the Spirit. She can have a really hard time catching people. And it also is a very long map, especially with Carnival there and that little pocket. Usually you will see sort of a 3-gen spawn over there, but it gets broken pretty early. It's very difficult to actually hold 3 gens as Spirit because you are one of the slower killers. So what will happen? 3-gen, if there is one, will be broken over at Chapel, and you will see all those survivors just run over there and die in that corner. Because the rest of the generators tend to spawn around the main building in that area with Shack and all of those pallets. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly how that game will go. I hope we do get to tiebreaker, though, because I do love a little bit of Spirit, and I do love watching both Sinners and Eternal play Spirit. They both have good players on their teams who handle that, and they have good survivors on their team who handle that as well. So it's going to be a treat all from beginning to end. Even if it is a 2-0 in favor of one team, it is still going to be exciting sets. We are loading in right now for the very first game. Eternal's killer is playing first. I believe it will be Nightlight on the Houndmaster against the survivors Sinners. It will be played on Cold Tower 2. This is my very first time watching Houndmaster actually played in a high level setting. So I am really interested to see how this will go. You did say that she averages slower chases than normal. It might be that it could be because there's more pallets up or something. I'm not entirely sure, but this looks like a good build. This looks like a good start. We'll have to see what Nightlight is going to cook up for us.
Good build, good map, and good stage to watch the Houndmaster. Nightlight finding Bucky very early here, and it seems like our dog is ready to help here, sensing the blood and ready to get the first down as quick as possible here. Bucky running this 4-lane to try get some distance out of the way, does manage to get the quick vault here, should make it back towards this filler pallet. That's going to be the chase command coming out onto Ducky, and that's going to be a very good one. Bucky taking the injury relatively quickly into the trial and straight again.
My God.
Right after the window, that's going to be Nightlight quickly making the down here, and that's going to drop the average chase time significantly.
Yeah.
50 seconds only. Very well played.
Wait, was that was a 3-person generator, I believe? Yeah, they all just tripled a generator to try to get it down as soon as maybe that was a 3-gen that they were desperately trying to break out, or they couldn't cross safely without getting in the path of the Houndmaster. Nightlight showcasing just exactly how well he's going to play this killer. That was really good chase. That felt very precise as well. Switching to the dog and going for that second dash is a lot more difficult than it looks. So I am very impressed. There has been Houndmaster changes that I haven't been totally knowledgeable too, so I could just be yapping here. But I mean, that looked very skillful to me, and he did get quite a bit out of it. An early down compared to the average is huge. Right now, I believe Nightlight is just sort of standing near Hook because he knows he got this early down. In comp settings like this, you sometimes want to just go for an early tunnel out, which is really, really good because then you make it a 3v1 way easier to go with. Oh my god, Jason here is grabbed. You can't unhook while you're grabbed by the dog. Is it gonna be enough?
This is so
Is it
smart.
gonna be enough? It doesn't seem like it. Body blocking just enough. Oh, but he gets it, but he gets his power back. And Bucky goes to struggle. Was able to get there last second, but it wasn't enough. The cooldown for Houndmaster's dog is way quick. And there we go. Already getting another down onto Jason. This is the dream start.
This is an absolute dream start. A Nightlight just IQ 200. The Survivor team twice with the dog, pulling them away from the incoming rescue, making sure that it's basically automatically delaying the rescue as long as it's needed. And now we are not talking about Bucky anymore getting off the hook and trying to go for a longer chase here. We are now talking about Bucky running and struggling for his life in order to not leave this trial already. Completely different scenario that Eternal's killer is in now, going to send the dog once again quickly onto Bucky, who's able to dodge this time. Unfortunate for Nightlight. Now Bucky very well playing here and reaching the shack pallet, trying to catch the survivor over the pallet, will be successful with that. So unfortunately it's not going to be too much, and Gustavo is coming in a little bit too late. The Ebony is going to do the rest here. We are saying goodbye to Bucky. 3v1 scenario early on into the game. They won a little bit of time here. A few seconds have been taken back, but I think overall we can all agree that this quick kill here is putting Eternal in a very good position.
Yeah, that's a very, very, very good beginning, especially because you said the average chase time for Houndmaster was a little bit longer, but not for Nightlight here. He's already got a tunnel out at 3 gens remaining and knows where 2 survivors are. This is looking like it's gonna be really difficult to recover from. Look how quick he's just sending the dog on that second dash there. That's actually, he's doing a really good job here. I guess I shouldn't expect anything less, but going for these dashes like this, gets a grab, just showing how insane that Houndmaster can be around these smaller loops. That is known as a god filler, but not to this killer. There's very few killers like that who can definitely say that that is unsafe. Even right now, it seems like Nightlight is going for a bit of greed, but it might pay off because he is able to stop these generators from getting done. If he could get a 4K with 3 generators remaining, that's an insane result to just start out here for the quarterfinals. Oh my god, he's so good at just sitting at the dog like that. Unfortunately, the dog can be stunned if they are underneath a pallet, so they do have to play this a little bit. I'm surprised the dog didn't vault the pallet there. Does get the M1 hit. Jason has not picked up Gustavo just yet. Is able to get to that pallet in time. Smacks the dog right off of her and just gets the generator done. It really seems like they're trying really hard just to get more progress on those generators. Trying to play it a little bit patient. Nightlight can see the killer instinct. Look at that Nancy, though. She's kind of hard carrying this, lasting quite a bit of time in chase here. Will eventually go down, but Gustavo has been picked up by Jason, who is now back on the generator. It seems that Nightlight is conceding and is not trying to slug anymore. Does have Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, so that will reduce the generator with the most progress. Activating Pop Goes a Weasel, and Eruption is also available if he wants to kick a generator and get a lot of regression stacking.
Now, with that first elimination, Sinners is a lot more in danger here. Now they have another survivor hooked, meaning that Jason is responsible for the unhook, and Gustavo in the chase here, dropping the generator pressure to 0, especially when the rotating rescuer is then being sniffed out by our killer here. Sending the dog once again, and unfortunately not going to find the target here. Jason has the chance, especially with the life, to survive a little bit longer. This time it's going to be the injury due to the chase command. Nightlight committing to this survivor. Doesn't worry too much about the incoming reset under the hook there. Left to the main building. Difficult loop here to play. The eye loop, usually a strong resource, but not if the dog is being used accordingly. That's now going to be the chase command. Smart dodge there from our survivor, but unfortunately then you have to run into the killer, which is going to result in a quick down. Survivors are doubling up in the distance. We can see that Sinners really wants to keep up the generator pressure. They want to make sure that they're pushing this win condition really more to a little bit of a success, putting pressure onto Eternal as quick as possible. And they are doing a lot of better. I feel like, yeah, they lost the first survivor here, but now during the mid game, they do have some moments where they gain a little bit of time for themselves. If only they would be able to get a little bit more benefit from that. And Nancy, right after dropping from the main building, being downed here, unfortunately, not a longer chase as we just discussed, not able to gain some time for the survivor team. Jason and Gustavo are most likely even going to meet up for a little bit of a reset there. So not really the position you want to be in, and your next survivor is just one stage away from being eliminated.
Yep, getting closer to the end of the game here. The real question is, how many generators can they get done before they all bite it? Because this is insane pressure. I would be surprised if they were able to get 2 generators done. 1, maybe. There has been 1 hook that has happened onto the survivor. Oh, well, I mean, like 2 now that Nancy is back up on the hook there. She will be moreable, so there is no case of decisive strike that could happen to her. So if Nightlight wanted to tunnel once again, he definitely could. There we go. Got Gustavo right on the ground as well. That will be his first hook, I believe. Jason does get another generator done. That's huge, 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 huge. Them committing to generators instead of picking up that slug earlier, and also committing to generators instead of saving this person. It may seem like, yeah, they don't get to have Nancy in the game for that much longer, but they might not have been able to get another generator done. A 4K1 result from having a death with 3 gens remaining is very huge. Oh, she is the one with decisive strike too. That's really unfortunate. It's not going to get any value because you're going to get moried. But, you know, it's the thought that counts. Look at that. That is a really fun inclusion about the mories as well. Not having to deal with decisive strike if somebody decides to save it for their second hook, or if they go to struggle, or, you know, they don't tunnel the first time. It really puts like a huge damper on DS. But yeah, there we go. That decisive strike survivor has been moried. The last 2 survivors are slugged on the ground with no hope of standing up by themselves. Yep, there's no unbreakable there. So that will be the end of the game at a 4K1. Very well played by Nightlight. We'll have to see what the Sinners can do in this situation as well. Are they going to be able to get an early down such as that? There is potential to snowball mid-game, even if they don't have as good as Nightlight as having an early game. So, I mean, it's not over till it's over. But that was a masterful performance, if I do say so.
Yeah, what we can learn from this is, if you ever see Nightlight in the park in your neighborhood with a dog, you better start running, because you never know how much they are practicing to get this good on the Houndmaster. Excellent performance. You mentioned something really important. I do think it is great that they got it into 1 generator standing, because now you at least give your Sinners killer the chance to tell them, play around the 3-gen, defend this 3-gen, which is very possible on the call tower. And if you're successfully doing that, then we have a tie in the first set, and we can see in our set, the Billy, what's happening there. Of course, 4K2 is also possible here for Sinners. But if we would have talked about a 4K2 or 4K3, I feel like it would have been much more of a difficult comeback for Team Sinners. And like this, they definitely made themselves a good start. We are going to take a short break, ladies and gentlemen. We will set up the rematch, and we'll see you on the call tower after a short break.
Hello, guys, and welcome back. We've taken a moment. We have switched sides, and now Sinners, Jason is playing the Houndmaster against the survivor team of Eternal. Now they have a tall order. They have a 4K1 to either meet or beat with a 4K2. That is going to be a little bit difficult here. The average chase time is apparently way quicker than I thought it was going to be. Getting the first hit right there will be good. I'm not sure what we're doing here. Waiting for that? I waited for the dog to be gone before... Does that make the dog come back immediately? That's actually crazy. I don't know how this killer works. I am so sorry. I am very not knowledgeable because this is just seems insane to me. Goes for a second dash right there. Kexo was incredibly patient, will not be getting bit by the dog today. Goes for a 50-50 vault, but wins that. Will the dog even vault it? Doesn't even seem so. This killer is a little bit janky. I don't know. It does require some finessing a little bit there. Will this result in a hit right there? Goes for that, a little bit of a fake. However, the killer is slowed when that happens. Oh my god, Kexo just absolutely juicing here at this really, what I thought was an unsafe tile. My god, he is really just, oh, he's just killing it. This is like a Z-wall chase. One generator gets done already. I believe that will be the down right there, but that was such a tremendous amount of wasted time. No pellets thrown. Dang, Kexo has really been doing his 1v1s. That tile is extremely hard to live on. This will be the second generator done. Okay, never mind. It got pain resonanced. Jason actually has an interesting build here. I didn't even look at it. It's Ruin, Thrill, Wretched Fate, and Scourge Hook Pain of Resonance. So when they're not working on generators, they will be regressing. There is Wretched Fate, which when the first generator gets done, the Obsession will do gens, I believe, 20% slower while that totem is up. And Thrill makes it so cleansing those totems takes a very long time. And then classic Scourge Hook Pain Resonance for that regression for fresh hooks. It's doing pretty good work here because Dan has been pressured off the generator. It is now regressing, but... I mean, that is still not as good a start as last game, but I don't know. We'll have to see what Jason can do. He had a really good scenario last game. Nightlight did around the hooks. It's not going to work it the same way. Spitz will be going down onto the ground. That will be a trade for a Scourge Hook. So another generator will be regressed, and we know where Kexo ran off to. So Jason can choose to tunnel if he so wants to, but maybe not if he thinks that is the decisive strike survivor. One generator gets done. That's not even the one that Dan was working on. The survivors are just absolutely banging out these gens. And no, we're back to the structure. We're back to the structure. Kexo, please have mercy this time.
Yeah, hopefully a little bit of mercy in this chase that is coming up, because Jason is in a really difficult spot now. Does get the down right here though, so there's the chance for the comeback, but the third generator is already being completed by Dan the man here. Zaka though, as the only healthy survivor, carries the responsibility now, and doesn't seem like he cares about the responsibility because he just starts the next generator here. But Eternal needs to be a little bit more careful. After Kexo had this phenomenal chase, now with Spitz and him going on to the hook and Kexo being in the second stage even, we definitely have the chance that Jason could create quite some chaos here on the call tower. Let's see if he's able to find the survivors quickly, potentially even making sure that they are not getting the full reset of Spitz is back to healthy, however, and they are getting a second unhook here as well, and no one is instantly in a chase. It feels like Jason, unfortunately, giving the rescue and the reset a little bit for free to Eternal here. They are now able to break free from the pressure. They are able to hide a little bit here behind the main building while the others are towards the shack side and working on the active generator. Hit tank coming in by Zaka, very well executed here. Jason actually has to circle back and around. Not entirely sure if that's going to be much of a help, as Zaka is still around the area here and would be able to take a hit for the team member. Dan is 1/3 of the fourth generator at the moment. As a reminder, we would need all the generators done for Team Eternal. 4 generators would be the tie condition. Now trying to play the patience game here. Kexo perfectly doing that, using the pallet then, but then getting mind-gamed, taking the injury here. Was not expecting that Jason would just hold W. Well played by our killer. And is he now able to get the dog one more time for a quick down? That's going to be the question here. Dog is hitting the target. Kexo incapacitated, will go down, and that should be the elimination on 2 generators still remaining. So very realistic chance that at least a tie is going to come out as a result here.
Definitely seems so, because Dan's generator is dangerously close to getting done. Zaka's right there has quite a bit of progress. I mean, it does seem like it could be close for a 4K1, but those generators having a ton of progress like that means that it is really difficult as a killer that is a little bit lower tier than an S tier to be able to pressure all 3 survivors at once. And we have seen high skill teams really clutch it when it comes to the 3v1. So it's gonna be a little bit difficult, although Jason does get that hit right there. That will be Zaka put onto the ground. It seems that Jason wants to go for a little bit more here. The survivors do heal up, however, using that Houndmaster trail to get a little bit extra distance. You go a little bit faster. Does find, I think he knows that this was the reset spot. Sends the dog after Dan. Yep, knows where Spitz is, so he knows where everybody is. Right now, it's going to be a little bit of a back and forth, a little bit of juggling, seeing if they can actually get... Oh, yeah. Uses the... Oh, my God. Throws it on the wrong side. That would have been such a clutch hit for Jason. But doesn't actually get it. This is going to be a back and forth between picking up survivors, dealing with injuries, and also trying to get another generator done. The generators that are left aren't too terribly close. So it does seem like it could be... If a survivor goes on a really long chase, that will be enough time bought for just getting the last generator done. Oh my God, the dog just going right by there. It's always so fun to see. Zaka loses that right there. Knows he's down. Goes for a drop right there on the ground. Oh, wait, he actually had plot twist. I think he tried to activate plot twist, but he actually didn't get it in time. Yeah, I don't think he's activated it before. He tried to drop himself to make it so the killer actually couldn't effectively slug him. Maybe, I don't know. I don't think he got it off in time. It might have been a ping thing that he did. I'm not entirely sure. But it doesn't matter anyway, because Zaka is now placed up on the hook. The dog is just barking here over at Ada. Spitz shoos it away, going right back to the Houndmaster. Jason is an experienced killer. He'll know that the survivors are splitting gens here a little bit. Zaka takes a hit, knows. He knows. There we go. There's the plot twist, but it's decisive strike. So this pick is just going to waste time. Yes, indeed. Takes a big fat stun to the face. Zaka still, I believe, has plot twist if he wants to just drop himself on the ground again. Makes it so if Jason wants to slug him, it's going to be impossible. And right now we know that Ada is working on a generator across the map. So all of this time is just wasted, and it seems like they're going to be able to pressure that generator into getting done. Yes, we have Dan coming here for a body block hit, just wasting even more time. It might be that Spitz has indeed confirmed that that generator is going to be done.
And now you have Dan up there, and Eternal will be very happy if Dan is going down onto the floor, but it doesn't even matter because they wasted so much time. The generator number 5 is completed. Eternal is going to take the first set point in this best of 3. Very, very well played, especially the decisive strike plot twist play that we've seen there from Zaka, removing or taking the decision basically away from the killer, forcing the pickup, then striking very decisively, we could say, and then getting the final generator out of the way. Now Jason with a little bit of decoration for the result here, hopefully taking some extra stages, but it is going to be Eternal taking their very own set, which is going to be still a very good chance for Sinners, because now you can say, okay, Eternal, you wanted to win the Houndmaster, you definitely got that, congratulations, but now we are about to play our set, the Billy, and that's going to tell a little bit of a different story. I'm very hyped to see what Sinners has in store for us.
Definitely. This is a good result to get against Eternal, especially on a newer killer that isn't their pick. Very well played. GG's to everyone involved. Now we are switching to Hillbilly, played on the Fractured Cowshed. I've seen a couple people ask in chat what map that is. That is a newer map. I've never seen Billy played on this map. The way that this season goes is that there is like a small pool of maps that you can choose from, and they chose Fractured Cowshed. I'm not entirely sure how that works in terms of Billy chases. Billy is normally put on Azerov's maps, which are very standard in terms of loops. So we'll get to see a little bit different of Hillbilly play. I wonder if we're still going to see a huge slugging mess. That is something that Billy was known for last season, just going around slugging everybody. You saw the survivors in protest run no mither, which seems like a detriment to the team, but it actually works really well because you cannot slug that survivor, forcing the killer to pick them up and not let them pick themselves up. So we'll see what the Sinners have planned for us. This is a little bit different balancing because I know that last season plot twist was not allowed, and I didn't know it was allowed this season. That surprised me a little bit when I saw it in a build, but makes it a little bit more interesting. We also have the Mories. So if these killers can just get to that second stage, they just have to Mori the survivor on the ground. Saves a little bit of time, gets around a little bit of perks. It's a lot more interesting and shows for some interesting play. Yeah. Yeah.
I love how you are backing your own argument. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's different than like a lot of other tournaments. I like seeing stuff that's different and not just like the same old balance thing, the same old maps. We know these teams are capable of playing really well. So something like this, it just shows what they can do under different circumstances and really shine and show their skill and ability to use perks like that.
And especially with now also this variation that we have on the maps, since in Winter Circuit we are basically giving 3 options per killer, and the teams are allowed to ban 1 option, so they can say, okay, you guys want to play Billy, but absolutely not on this map. We won't have that. And then the team that selected the killer can choose from the remaining 2. Fractured Cowshed is actually a very hype map for the Billy. As I mentioned before, we had last weekend a 10-second instant snipe, and that happened on the Fractured Cowshed. So we are, with the perfect chance here to have a very intense early game to put the pressure immediately onto the survivors. Ladies and gentlemen, we are taking a short moment to set up the trial on the Fractured Cowshed, and we will be back for you in just a moment. Back everyone to the Fractured Cowshed and the Billy, and this is Jason going wee with his Billy across the map, trying to find a survivor as quick as possible. Does manage to do that. Let's hope that it's not going to be the no mither survivor. That's not the case. That is going to be Spitz, and Spitz usually needs a with the crouch tag right there. Wait, didn't Behavior say they fixed it? No, never mind. That doesn't mean anything if that's in the patch notes. And Spitz knows that as well, doing a very good job here, dropping the pallet as well to get a little bit of distance. Jason is trying to go for another curve, but does bonk into the generator here. That's going to cost a little bit of time. Next curve coming out, but Spitz already vaulted the window here. Very well done when the Billy has to drop first chase because the survivor is too strong. Then something is going wrong, Ray.
Yep, it seems like Spitz played that first chase extremely well, able to get a little bit of a crouch tech and also wasted just enough time for the first overcharge to go away. Oh my god, that crouch tech is huge, except here we go, classic Cowshed. It is... Oh my god! These survivors are so slippery. Not getting down just like that. Trying to go for all of these chainsaws, but the crouch tech is too strong, and Jason is forced to just go for these, but they're just missing. It seems like there's absolutely nothing left on this map, but Eternal decided that, hey, guess what? All we needed is our control key, and we have already lasted extremely long against an S-tier killer. A little bit of finesse and lithe makes it so Nightlight gets away scot-free. Playing this window right here because it is forcing the Billy to go for an M1. There's Jason leaving yet another chase. That will be the first generator gotten done right there. There is Hex Ruin. So when the survivors are off generators, that means that they are regressing as if the killer had kicked it. But man, look at all that progress. That is just incredible to get against an S-tier killer such as this. And Fractured Cowshed has hardly anything on this map. Oh, but goes for a good chainsaw hit right there onto Kexo. That will be the first down, happening at 1 generator completed, except it really isn't just 1 gen, because look at all that progress on the UI to the left there. They have at least 2 others that are about 80-90%. So the survivors are sitting in a very, very comfortable position.
2:28. That is a crazy chase time against the Billy. That feels like we're playing old Billy when he was weak and cute and everyone was feeling really bad for him. But now he's a killing machine, or is supposed to be one at least. Nightlight here with the crouch check, now trying to use this edge map tile. That's not going to be successful, so that's the next down right here. In the meanwhile, Kexo is being rescued in the distance. Now we're getting a few stages together here, but I do think that the fact that we still have 4 generators is not really what's actually happening on the survivor side. They have worked on a lot of individual generators, so we might see a few more objectives coming out any second here. We hear a lot of progress next to this tile over here. Hex Ruin will do a little bit of work. Jason now trying to split himself, trying to be in multiple locations at the same time, maybe even hoping that one of the survivors is going to be found in a very tricky area where they are not expecting it, but we can see that it's not really going to the benefit of Jason. Whenever he's leaving one area, they are finishing the generator. The Hex Ruin doesn't really come in clutch here. It is even protected with the Thrill of the Hunt, which is an interesting perk choice, because I feel like right now, Ray, the perk value that is coming out of the Ruin Thrill of the Hunt is really not there.
Yeah, it seems like this was a really good plan, but Ruin by itself can be a harder perk to get really good value out of. You need to be in a really good spot to be able to pressure survivors off generators and do all of this stuff all together. Zaka just jumping into a locker right there. He does have no mither, so it doesn't matter if he's on the ground, but it seems like Jason was waiting to see if a survivor was going to go for the save onto Nightlight, but he's on a really tough spot to save for free. That is a hill, so there's only one entrance that the killer can see. Nightlight is now Moriable. It does not matter if he had Decisive Strike. They still did go for the save, yes, but how much value is it really going to get? Has the overcharge, thinks that the Spitz is going to be hopping into that locker right there, but no dice. That will be Spitz put onto the ground right there. I mean, they have 1 generator left. That is already such a huge result to get out of Billy on this map. I personally think so. That will be Zaka right here. He's just going to go play it super aggressive because he knows that if he just plays that super aggressive and the killer goes for him, then these 2 survivors could have gotten their generator done. However, they are able to pressure him off of it. Goes for a swing and a miss. A swing and a miss. Nightlight hops right back on that generator right there. Will it be enough time? It really seems so. These survivors are playing extremely aggressive. Getting all 5 generators done is already such a good result to have. So even if every single survivor in this lobby were to fall over and perish in 2 seconds, it doesn't matter because they got all the generators done. Kexo is the best target to go for here. Seems that Jason has decided that as well, because Nightlight is only worth 1 more stage if you get him out of the game. It seems that Zaka all the way across the map opened up the other door, so that will be at least 1 survivor out of the game. Kexo gets picked up. Are we going to see a 4 out? I would be so unbelievably surprised if we did. Jason, leaving that chase, decides to go back and try to find the other slug survivor, but he doesn't find anybody. That will be these survivors stealthing out. Oh my god, does he even know that he was there? Oh, he spots Nightlight over here, but Nightlight is worth the least amount of stages. This is the last survivor you want to find. Does he know? He doesn't know! He doesn't know! There's another survivor there, Zaka, chilling over there. Oh my god, and he has Wiglif. meaning he's going to be able to pick up Nightlight. Oh my god, these survivors are just playing this so very well. This is crazy to see how this turn of events gets picked up. And now that will be another survivor back in the game. However, finding this survivor and getting them up on the hook is definitely better than going for Nightlight. This will be worth, I believe, 2 stages. Oh, it seems that Nightlight is trying to take the down for Kexo because that will be him on the ground, but nobody else, except it might not be enough. Has a 99 sprint burst. Will Jason be able to get to the gate? It does seem so. Zaka takes it with a dead hard. Oh my god. Oh my god.
What?
This is high level play at its finest.
Yeah, wow. This is my very deep analysis of what just happened. Wow. I feel bad for our killer because I feel like we got a couple of downs and we got the chances for a couple of hook stages that should have ultimately resulted in a much better performance. I feel like 2 problems that we have seen here is that the Billy was really playing for himself, not really supported by the perks, because the Hex Ruin, then on top of that protected by the Thread of the Hunt, was not really coming in clutch. He was not able to apply the necessary pressure that it would have taken to take the Eternal survivors for a long time away from the generators, and it also often causes these slugging moments, right? We have seen how Jason was trying to go cross map towards the shack to get the survivor off the generator there so Hex Ruin can finally start doing some work. Then he tried to get cross map again, and when you are not able to have a slug play combined with this, then it's going to be really, really difficult. And considering that Eternal is a difficult team to have a slug play successfully executed anyway, is surprising me a little bit why we are going to see this sort of perk build here, because it really didn't do a lot. And then I also feel like he was struggling to really get the pressure out of these hook stages. Maybe should have tried to lock down one area around the main building, to be more precise, to get the pressure from there. Ladies and gentlemen, it is potentially the final chance here for Team Sinners to make a little bit of a comeback. We are talking about 6 stages, so Eternal's killer will need 2 kills and 1 additional stage, and then they are through into the semi-finals. So let's find out if Sinners can answer something with all of the experience that they have on the Billy. We will be back for you right after this very short break.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to potentially the last match of the matchup of Sinners versus Eternal. We've got Dan, the scary P100 Hillbilly, right on playing for Eternal. This result needs to be either a... Oh my god, that is such an early down. Okay. An early down already. I was going to say, this needs to be 6 stages. I think it's 6 stages for fresh. You were talking earlier, but I wasn't sure if they had gotten all 4 of those. Dan already looking... I don't know if he's looking up to avoid a firecracker, or he's looking up because that is a really good beginning right there. But honestly, he should be celebrating because that is a down in basement. Gustavo is now injured because he took an M1 hit right there. This is a really, really good start. A little bit different build than what Jason decided to bring in. They've got Ruin, Thrill, and I believe that is called crowd control. But I know what it does. It's when you vault windows, that window will be indefinitely blocked. The last 5 windows that are vaulted will be indefinitely blocked until that totem is cleansed. So that is a huge incentive for these survivors to cleanse totems, especially against a Billy who has an insta-down. So that was something that Jason was missing last game. He didn't have a window blocking perk, so the first chases just took so very long. This is already such a huge difference. Dan is just running around, pressuring survivors off the generators, and is going right back down to the basement to see if the survivors are already there. Are those remnants of footsteps? Is somebody hiding down here? Dan seems to believe so. If a survivor is caught out now, that would just be insanely bad. He does check but it seems that Vinny will be going into the struggle state that is already about very, very close to getting to the result that Dan needs. Now he's just going to go around and be a menace to the survivors who are just been sitting on generators right now, but they still are at 5 gens, and it seems like it's going to be really difficult for them to just bang out the required amount to be able to get the result that they need. They need to get like 5 stages or less to be able to win. But I mean, right now, you already have the Billy coming right back to basement, holding that chainsaw for as long as humanly possible. Goes for an M1 hit, goes for another M1 hit. That will be Nancy placed upon the ground. Vinny is the tunnel out. So we might see Dan just commit. Goes for a smack. That will be Vinny placed into the deep wounds. That window is blocked, so nobody can vault it anymore. But, oh, they have to stay here. They have to stay here. Goes to vault it. Shack pallet is not the safe pallet that you once thought. Vinny is, oh my god, they had Unbreakable. That will be the Nancy getting picked up out of basement. But it seems that Dan really just wants to go for his tunnel out, which is a really good strategy to go for, because then you make it a 3v1, and because the inclusion of the Ebony Mori, yep, there we go. That will be the survivor out of the game. 3v1, gonna be really difficult to come back from this.
Absolutely, yeah, especially when we remember the win condition being 7 stages here. So essentially, you just need to get one more survivor out of the game, then 1 extra stage, and then you are having the 2-0 for Eternal. On top of that, all of these survivors are injured, so either they need a lot of time to go for the reset here, otherwise it is just going to be a few M1s here and there, and not necessarily the chainsaw attack. That's going to be SMSFL that is going to be found here on the cow tree, and the chainsaw going to come out once again, then potentially even revving it back, realizing that the M1 is enough. Yeah, that's just going to be the down this way, and you can tell that the pressure is high. We have 3 generators still standing. Oh, never mind, 3 gens still standing, 1 over there, 1 over here in the main building. Fantastic generator pressure from Team Sinners. Even though they are with the back to the wall, they are doing a really, really good job here. And then now even leaving Ace alone, realizing that he might potentially want to hook the slugged survivor. For now, we are going into the next chase. Very nice stun here by Bucky, making sure that some extra time is taken, that some distance is being won. Bucky now also gets access back towards the middle of the fractured cowshed here, as Dan is allowing him to zone himself back into the mid. That's going to be the M1 right here. In the distance, we have seen the pickup, so Dan knows that no one is working on the generator right now, and that he has effectively 90 seconds. But I do think these double gen that was just coming out left a little bit of an impression. Yeah,
absolutely. The survivors did lose that. They lost Vinny there in the basement fairly early on, but they were able to trade his hook progress for generator progress. That is a downside that comes to camping. You're just not able to pressure the rest of the map. Even though Dan was using his chainsaw to get around, it seemed like the survivors were just really brave and they stuck it out. They are rewarded with just 1 generator left, but also those were the generators that were sort of left. Oh my god, another fantastic crouch tech. That was the generators that were left around basement, and they're really close together. This might as well be a 3-gen for the Hillbilly, so I would be so surprised that they were able to break this out. Yep, it seems that that survivor is left on the ground, and we know that there is no more Unbreakable in play. So right now, this is just the rest of the chase that is going to happen. A fantastic chainsaw by Dan that will put the last survivor on the ground. And it doesn't seem like there's any other chance for escape. That will be the 5th hook stage right there. I mean, we're just here confirming it. Very, very, I would say, really good comeback from Sinners here. They played that extremely well. However, Eternal played it just a little bit better. And that will be, oh, he's just going to wait it out. He's just going to wait it out. I mean, that is 6 stages, 3 fresh right there. We're going to play a little bit of a waiting game here, but it's practically confirmed there is no unbreakable. Yes, Nancy does have deliverance, but if you just wait for the rest of the survivors to pass away from the trial, that will be confirmed that Eternal will be taking this semi-final slot with a 2-0 against Sinners. Very, very well played, an incredible showcase, just how skillful they can be at this high level. Masterclass played by both Nightlight and Dan on their killers. Very, very well played.
Very well done indeed. I think Dan has a little bit of fun here at the moment after a very strong performance. I totally understand waiting out the deliverance there. You really don't want to risk anything. Not that the deliverance into a 360, something like this happens, and then magically Sinners is all running out of the doors. So absolutely understandable, and I think celebration is deserved. We are going to see the 2-0 here. So Eternal is going against either Calamity or Catalyst. Those two are coming out later. One thing that I always wondered when we are talking about the farm maps, why it always makes such a metallic sound when you are hitting dry grass, but maybe this is a question that the map designers of Behavior will answer us one day. Ladies and gentlemen, congrats to Eternal, congrats to Sinners. They have a second chance. They are going against Jinx upcoming weekend on next Saturday. On 35, we are going to continue with Elysium versus Ascent. That is giving us 10 minutes for a campfire chat, and Ray, we have a little bit to talk about when talking about this upcoming game that we have here. Ascent was a very interesting team because technically they are not the typical qualification team. They are very strong. We have forced them to play the qualifiers because they wanted to make up for something that they have caused in season 9, if someone remembers. But now they're in the main stage. They're looking really strong. Elysium is smashing as always. So this is actually going to be a very intense quarterfinal that we have ahead of us with totally different killers than we have just seen. Dracula, Unknown, and Blight.